You think you know everything about cruising? Let's dive into lesser known lies that could be quietly sabotaging your dream vacation. Join me as I uncover the surprising myths about cruising that even seasoned travelers often overlook. We'll explore the unexpected realities of life at sea and reveal truths that could transform your next voyage. Prepare to have your cruise knowledge expanded with insights you won't find anywhere else. Stay with me to the end as I reveal the ultimate cruise myth that could save you from a major vacation blunder. Myth number one. Most people who've been on a cruise or two know this, but cruises are all inclusive. Wrong answer. Think specialty dining, drinks, whether it be alcohol or non-alcohol, soda packages or soda, specialty coffees, Wi-Fi, gratuities, excursions, all that stuff costs extra. A few cruise lines are truly all-inclusive. I think, Regent and Viking are arguably the two that come to mind. Most of them are not. Pre-purchasing packages helps manage your expectations and save money. Some lines will allow you a limited number of alcohol beverages or soft drinks, especially on longer voyages with status tiers. So if you're, I think it's Diamond on Royal Caribbean, which I think is, 100 nights on board, they give you drink tickets for, I think, 4 alcoholic drinks a day. Stuff like that. Sometimes beer and wine with lunch and dinner. But that's about it. Number 2, you'll definitely get seasick. No, you can get seasick. You might get seasick. Modern ships have these things called stabilizers. They work really, really well at keeping that movement to a minimum. Now, is it possible you're going to get seasick? Yes. Take some precautions if you've never been on a cruise before. Go to your doctor, get a motion sickness patch, get some, what's the over-the-counter stuff? Get the over-the-counter stuff, the non-drowsy version. Be prepared. Take it in advance. Don't wait till you get on board and you're sick before you decide to take it. But a lot of people don't feel it whatsoever. Knock on wood. I have not gotten any form of motion sickness since the day I stepped foot on the aircraft carrier when I was in the Navy in 1993. 93. That first 24 hours, I was a little nauseous. Ever since then, nothing. And we're talking hundreds of nights at sea. 3 years in the Navy and then, 20 some odd cruises. If you're concerned about it, if you feel like you might, choose a midship, lower deck stateroom. So midship meaning front to back. You don't want to be in the front. You don't want to be in the back. You want to be in the middle of the ship. Lower deck, obviously, you don't want to be on decks 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. You want to be 4 to 8-ish because the center of the ship, the lower part of the ship moves the least amount. If you think about it, you want to be as close to the casino as you can. Why? Because the casino, they have chips. Those chips have monetary value. They put the casino where there's the least amount of movement going on so those chips don't go flying and disappear. Light movement, open air definitely help if you are feeling nauseous. Myth number 3, formal night means tuxedo and gowns. Now, this is a myth and it's true at the same time because it depends on the cruise line you're on. If you're on Holland America, Cunard, Regent, Oceania, the high end, yeah, you're wearing tuxedos and gowns. If you're on, Norwegian, Royal, Carnival, Princess, Celebrity, you don't need tuxedos and gowns. Some people don't dress up at all. Some people do what I usually do. Most of the time I'm going to wear I'm on a formal night. I'm going to wear slacks, a button-down shirt, and a sport coat. Sometimes I'll bring a tie, and if we have 2 formal nights, I'll wear the tie one night and not the other night. Women think cocktail dress, that kind of thing. There are always casual venues available on every ship, so if you don't want to get dressed up and you don't want to feel underdressed in the main dining room or the specialty dining, okay, go to the, Guy's Burger Joint, go to the buffet, go to the taco place. There are other options if you don't want to get dressed up. But no, you do not. If you're on the ships most people go on, you don't have to worry about that. And if you're on those other cruise lines, the one that require it, arguably you look forward to that. Next myth, the food is just a fancy buffet. Oh my goodness, if I hear this one more time, I think I might vomit. You have got arguably the most variety of food you're going to find anywhere in the world in one place. We're talking sushi, French restaurants, Italian restaurants, steakhouses, casual burger joints, taco stands. Yes, you've got a buffet. Actually, not all cruise ships have buffets anymore. Most do, but not all. You've got barbecue joints. You got smokehouses. You've got any kind and every kind of food. Okay. And yes, okay, the main dining room is not going to be 5-star. It's not going to be a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's going to be good to amazing. In my opinion, after however many cruises I've been on, I have very, very rarely have I found something that I didn't like. And you know what? When I do, I call over the waiter and say, hey, this isn't to my taste. Can I get something else? And they bring me arguably whatever I want. If you find something you don't like, get something else. Don't not go on a cruise because you heard the food is awful. Check out those smaller venues. Check out the hidden gems, the cafes, all the little places. One of my goals every time I go on a new ship is to eat at every non-paid restaurant on board. I don't do the specialty dining often. When I do, it's once, maybe twice per cruise. But I want to hit every casual joint. I want to hit the main dining room. I want to hit every breakfast cafe, everything. I want to taste all the food, all of it. Now, I'm not going to go in and order, a 3-course meal at every one. I'm going to have, my wife and I are going to split a breakfast bagel or things like that. I want to taste it. You know what I mean? Most ships have room service. Most ships do not include room service in the cost, so you got to pay extra. There are pull grills. There are 24/7 cafes. And arguably, I don't know what it is, but there's something about pizza on a cruise ship at 2 a.m. doesn't get any better. Next myth. Cruises are only for retirees. Another one that I hope I never have to hear again. If you have seen any of the advertising of any of the major 3 cruise lines, you'll know for a fact that they are not for retirees. Arguably, those 3 lines cater and market to families. They want 2-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, because those kids bring their parents with them and their grandparents and the aunts and uncles, okay? They've got pools, they've got slides and water slides and all kinds. No, it's not just for retirees, and it is for every age range. Every major cruise ship you go on, you're going to have people on board from 8 months old to 88 years old. And 90% of the people are going to be having a good time. They're going to find something that they enjoy because there is something for them to do. Okay, now, Viking, adults only. They cater to a more mature crowd. Virgin Voyages, also adults only. They cater to a younger crowd. They cater arguably to, say, 25 to 35-year-old active people who like some of the finer things. But no, that's not true. There are themed cruises. Think wine, think wellness, think all kinds of music. There's disco cruises, and there's 60s cruises, and there's reggae cruises, and metal cruises, and there's Harry Potter cruises. So yeah, that's a myth. You don't have to be a retiree to enjoy a cruise. Next myth, you'll feel trapped on board. These things are floating cities, arguably larger than most cities out there. You're talking somewhere between 10 and 20 different dining venues. You're talking 2 to 6 pools, 5 to 15 lounges, a dozen bars, a major show theater. You've got comedy clubs. You've got little lounges. You've got Sea days are packed with activities like trivia, classes, tastings, special spa specials, libraries, observation decks, reading nooks. Yeah, no. I always say if you're bored on a cruise ship, it's your own fault. Okay. Next myth. Booking early is always best. Now, this one was a myth. It's becoming more true now because you book earlier, you get arguably a lot of times you get a good price. You get the best cabin choice. They're going to give you, a lot of times they're going to give you more perks, onboard credit, things like that. Because the earlier you book, the fuller they get faster, and it's better for them economically. Last minute deals do still exist, not as much, and most cruise lines are getting away from them because they're seeing that they're 12 months out that they're already at 80 to 90% capacity. They don't need to do the last minute deals because they know if they're at 80% capacity 12 months out, in the next 9 months, they're going to fill 15 of that 20%. Cruise lines will gladly sell at 95 or gladly sail at 95% capacity. When you book a cruise, do keep an eye on that the promotions and the rates though, because sometimes they will drop, and they will drop significantly enough that it makes sense to reprice. Keep an eye on the cruise tracking tools that are out there, or talk with your travel advisor. Good travel advisors will keep an eye on those fares for you and let you know if it drops. Next myth. You have to stick to cruise line shore excursions. The way that's worded, it is a myth. You do not have to stick to. Now, if you decide not to use a cruise line shore excursion, you can walk off the ship with no plans and just walk around. You can book a excursion through Viator, through Travel Advisor, or one of the other independents. Okay, you can. You're not forced to. Now, the benefit to sticking to the cruise line shore excursions is they work with that tour company in that island, and that tour company knows that they better get you guys back on board before sail away, or they're no longer going to be working with that cruise line. So they have an incentive to get you back on board. Downside to the cruise line shore excursions, they're more expensive usually because the cruise line takes a piece. So no, you don't have to. Do I recommend it? It depends on who you are and how comfortable you are with making sure that you can get back in time. If you're new to cruising, if you're not sure of what to do, when to do, how to do it, then yes, I recommend the cruise line sponsor one. That way you get told where to go. They take you from here to here to here. And as long as you stay with that group, you'll be back on board. Next myth, you can't cruise without a passport. Now this one, yes, it's a myth, but it's one that I don't agree with. So yes, it is a myth. If you're on a closed loop cruise, meaning a cruise that leaves from the U.S. and comes back to the U.S., you don't 100% have to have a passport. You can get away with a birth certificate and a state ID. I don't recommend it. I recommend you have a passport anytime you step foot outside of this country. Because if something happens and you need to fly home from a foreign port, you're going to need that passport. Birth certificate and ID ain't going to get you home if you miss the ship in Cozumel. Always have that passport, in my opinion. If for nothing else, it's peace of mind. Next up, myth number 10. All cabins are basically the same. Oh my gosh, no. Every cabin's different. And I'm not even talking about the difference between interior and balcony. I'm talking about location. A ship all the way in the front, a cabin all the way in the front of the ship is going to be a much different experience from a cabin midships as far as motion and rocking and what you can see. And also, you don't want to be right next to the elevators. You don't want to be right under the pool deck. You don't want to be right below the main dining room. There's certain areas you want to avoid, especially if you're a light sleeper. Talk with your travel agent. Look at the deck plans online. When you find, you go to book that cruise and you think you're going to be in room 10312, well, pull up the 10th deck on your ship and look at where it's at compared to the elevators, compared to service corridors, compared to what's above it, what's below it. How long is it going to take you to get to the elevator? Can you walk? There are some people who have mobility issues, and walking all the way to the front or the back of the ship is going to be a challenge. Let's talk about types of cabins, because they're not the same either. Interior cabins, no lights. You're in a room that's completely inside the ship. I'm sorry, no lights, no sunlight. Ocean view rooms, you've got a window, not a porthole, a window. Okay. Balconies, you've got a balcony. So every room is different. Every type of room is different. Study the deck plan. Talk to your travel agent. Next myth, you have to pay for every drink you order. It depends. Couple of things here. One, most cruise lines allow you to bring a bottle of wine on board if you drink wine. Okay, so you get that one bottle of wine. Some cruise lines have happy hours with drink specials, things like that, so they're less expensive. If you have loyalty, the loyalty card, and you've been on the same cruise line a lot of nights, you get free drinks sometimes. But arguably, besides that, unless you have the drink package, yes, every drink is going to cost you money. Well, water, no. Coffee, no. And most juices, no. But if you're drinking, specialty coffee, if you're drinking soda, if you're drinking alcohol, they charge you for that. So if you get a drink package of one sort or another, then no, you prepay kind of thing. Otherwise, yeah, you're paying for every drink. You're paying 10, 12, 15, 18 bucks every time you get a drink. Next myth, we've already kind of talked about this, but inside cabins are always the worst. Yeah, no, it depends. Some of them have digital screens that make it, it's a screen where you see what's on the outside of the ship, so it doesn't feel like you're in an inside cabin. Some people love inside cabins. Me, I love a balcony, but I'll tell you what, I'll take an inside cabin. If I don't have the money to get a balcony, I'll take an inside cabin because I still get to be on the cruise ship, and arguably I'm not in my room all that much. So, if you like it pitch black when you sleep, inside cabins are great. If you don't spend much time in your room, inside cabins are great. If you're on a budget, inside cabins are great. Next myth, Wi-Fi is always awful and overpriced. So, usually the Wi-Fi is pretty slow. Not always, but usually. And in my opinion, all Wi-Fi is overpriced. I get a month's worth of Wi-Fi, at home versus 1 day's worth of Wi-Fi on the ship. Now, as far as the awful speed, new technology is starting to be brought out to all the ships, Starlink. So in theory, the access is going to, the speed is going to get better. The quality is going to get better. I don't think it's going to stay the same. I think it's going to get more expensive. When you look at Wi-Fi, look at what you're going to be using it for. If you're doing email only, there's usually one tier that you can get that's pretty cheap. If you're doing social media and email, there's a lot of times a middle tier. If you need to do streaming, that's the most expensive. If you can, and I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, when you're in port, find a bar or a restaurant that you're going to eat in anyway that has Wi-Fi, hop on the Wi-Fi there. Next myth, solo cruisers always pay double. That used to be true, and on a lot of cruise lines, it is still true. But certain ships from certain cruise lines now have two things are going on. One, there are solo cabins now. Norwegian, in particular, has several ships that have them. And I can't remember which other cruise line, but there's a couple of cruise lines that are starting to come out with solo cabins. They're smaller than a regular cabin, but you pay for one person. Now, you get the solo cabin. The other thing is that sometimes cruise lines run promotions. They run specials where you don't pay that single, they call it a single supplement, which basically means because you're single, you have to supplement the cost and pay for both people in the room, arguably. Off-peak sailing dates, themed cruises that have solo-friendly prices. There are certain options where you might get a deal on, if you're traveling solo. Talk to your travel agent. I know personally, I have a couple of female customers that do the solo cabin thing. And, when they call me, hey, Eric, I'm ready, we are ready to go on a cruise. Again, I don't even, if I can't get them a solo cabin, I don't even look at that cruise. But anyway, next myth, cruises are bad for the environment. Well, that used to be true. Now they're finally realizing they can't keep up the old ways, that it's not going to last. So every year they're doing more and more towards sustainability. They got LNG powered ships. They got advanced water treatment systems, reduced emissions, waste management systems on board. They're eliminating single-use plastics, promoting eco excursions. They're doing a lot so that they are environmentally, and at the very least, environmentally neutral. Net neutral, I think it's called. And finally, the final myth reveal. You can't customize your cruise. With arguably one exception, that's not true. The truth is you can tailor almost every part of your experience. Choose your dining room, choose your flexible dining time, choose custom excursions, choose spa, choose wellness packages, choose pillow menus, choose, the types of bedding, choose the type of room, the location of the room, choose adult only areas, choose, if you want action-packed days, go for theme nights, go back-to-back excursions, do the nightlife. Pretty much every aspect is customizable at this point. Arguably, the only thing that's not customizable is the itinerary. Once you book a cruise, you have no control over that itinerary. The cruise line says where you're going. Now, you have control of that in the fact that you don't have to get on that ship. With these cruise myths debunked and the lies exposed, if you're traveling with your extended family, your next step is going to be mastering the art of multi-generational cruising. If you skip this, you risk facing the challenge of balancing family feuds, diverse interests, and needs on board. Learn how to create a cruise experience that delights every family member in this next video.